आपको पता है what is the currency of the world now? Do you know what is the currency of the world? Like India ki currency is rupee and USA is dollar. What is the most sellable thing? What are the businesses that are making maximum money in 21st century? The businesses that have an idea. So always remember, idea is the currency of the 21st century. Um, let's look at big businesses, right? Uh, I'll give you an example. Say, let us look at Instagram, Facebook. Let us look at Ola, Oyo, right? Even let's look at Amazon. Yes, anybody. Do you see something common amongst all these businesses? Is there anything that you see is common amongst these businesses? Anybody? They don't have any inventory. They don't
Yes,
even have,
ma'am.
yeah, so
Yes, ma'am. They don't have any product or inventory to sell. Like they just sell services. Uh,
yes.
I mean,
And still they're the biggest businesses in the world. They are like global. Ola doesn't own any car. Oyo doesn't own any property. Facebook and Instagram does not have any content of their own. It's you and I who are posting the content, and you and I, we are kind of appreciating each other, and imagine the kind of money they are making out of that. So it's the idea, right? So today our topic is creativity. For years, creativity has got a very stepchildly treatment from academics, education, because the first child of an educationist or the first preference of the educationist, teachers, parents, have always been an intelligent child, isn't it? An intelligent child who knows 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and he can translate that knowledge into performance, right? Get good marks, get into a very traditional kind of a career. So our education system has been ruled by uh, intelligence, ability for very, very long, unless we realize that IQ is just one measure, one aspect of success. We all have seen Three Idiots, right? So tell me, there are a few characters there. One, of course, is the protagonist, right? The hero. What's the name? Do you remember? Chanchad. You know? No. What's the name of the? What was the name of the protagonist in Three Idiots?
Rancho.
Rancho. Thank you, sir. Right, and there was this other character who had come from Uganda, Kramer,
Chatur.
Chatur. Okay, so let's compare these two characters. Chatur was very academic. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Nobody can wrote things like Chatur could. And Rancho was out of the box thinker, right? He could think of immediate solutions for the problems that they were encountering. He had very practical um, oriented solutions. So now imagine, um, as a teacher, honestly, with your hand on your heart, we prefer an intelligent student. Why? Prefer an intelligent student because they comply. उनके सवाल ही नहीं होते ज्यादा, जो बोल दिया यस सर, है ना. They are very high on compliance. They are very high on conformity. So as teachers, to have intelligent student in a class is a delight. आपने जो फीड कर दिया without asking a question, उसने वो सारा याद कर लिया, और एग्जाम में आके जैसा याद किया वैसा गगल आउट कर दिया, sorted, मार्क्स भी बहुत अच्छे आ गए. And imagine having a class of 70 and everybody is creative there. You and I will go mad. They will have questions to ask. They will have a fresh perspective. Anything and everything, right? So how are we going to tackle that bunch of people who are curious, right? Who will question everything, who are not satisfied with the status quo? Creative इंसान की सबसे बड़ी टेंडेंसी यही होती है ना, उसको जैसा जो है वैसा अच्छा नहीं लगता. ओके, तुम्हारी सिरदर्दी बड़ी कम हो जाती है इंटेलिजेंट बच्चों के साथ. लेट्स बी ऑनेस्ट, isn't it? They are complying, very, very compliant people. Now, I have a question to ask, and rather, I really want all of you to think about what I'm going to say right now. We force our children, or we teach our children to write between the lines all their school and college days, and suddenly, when they become professionals, we expect them to think out of the box. Isn't it? How does that work? कैसे होता है ये? सारी जिंदगी डंडा लेके उनको बोला ऐसे ही करना है. A is for apple. And then we want them to think like A is for anything. We want them to be design thinkers and creative thinkers and critical thinkers and problem solvers and decision makers. While all this while we adults, as parents, as teachers, oh, we were just giving them hand-me-down information. इसको ऐसा ही करना है. Especially a culture like ours, India, very high on compliance and conformity. All right, so this was like a little background about why it is important for us as educators to kind of value creativity. And like yesterday, if it's only inhalation, I'm the only one saying maza nahi aayega. If you take part and make it more conversational, we all are going to enjoy. So please ask questions, share your perspective, write, process some information, share your experiences. It's going to be so much more engaging and interactive. All right, now let me ask all of you, what do you think is creativity?
Ma'am, it's a kind of faculty by which we can contemplate, think, and construct something new in a positive way.
It's a set of skills with which
We can contemplate, think, and do something new in a creative, in an innovative way.
yes, absolutely right. Creativity allows us to do something new, to create something unique and unusual. Absolutely. Samir ji, कुछ कहना चाहते हैं? Would you like to add something? Mr. Samir Shah, you rose your hand. Is there anything that you would like to chip in? All right. So creativity is a skill, right? Which makes made up of two things. There are two ingredients in creativity. One, of course, is novelty. Anything that is creative is new, unusual, unthought of, infrequent, unique. Okay? But the other very important element which helps an idea or a product to qualify as creative is adaptability. That is, whatever you have introduced as an idea or a product or a service, it needs to solve a problem. Otherwise, a scribble on the wall by a little child when he catches hold of a crayon and does something on the wall, that's also unique, unusual, creative. Nobody else would think like that or draw like that. But is it solving a problem? No, it is not. So that does not qualify as creativity. Okay, so in engineering science especially, generating new ideas or concepts and creating a very new association or a remote association between ideas and concept is called as creativity. One myth I want to burst here, and I can really talk about creativity because I did my PhD on this variable. So it is really, really close to my heart. I'm very passionate about this. One myth I want to burst about creativity is that, when we think of creativity, we think of artistic creativity, that the child might be good at singing or dancing or theater or drama or maybe art. No, that's artistic creativity. When I am talking about creativity in this particular session, I'm only talking about everyday creativity. I'm talking about scientific creativity, right? So this everyday creativity is something that helps us find solutions to day-to-day problems. So all unicorn, companies, they became unicorn. They became 100 million, you know, um, company. Why? Because they solved a particular problem. They realized a need and they could offer a solution, and there were enough takers for that solution. So trust me, my dear teachers, audience, friends, we are living in knowledge economy, and the currency of this knowledge economy is an idea. If you have an idea, that is how, we have ideation centers now. We have incubation centers now. And entrepreneurship has become a big thing in India. Earlier, the maximum or the biggest aspiration that people had was civil services, isn't it? Or sarkari nokri, isn't it? But now people who think big, they think of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship cannot happen unless we create an environment where creativity bubbles and creativity gets fostered. When we understand creativity, we think of two types of thinking process. One is convergent thinking, and other is divergent thinking. Right now, look at the word convergent. Things are zeroing down. So anywhere in the world, okay, Samirji wants to say something. Creativity is to the complete the task work job assigned to you by unexplored path, yes, unconventional way in a constructive positive. Wow, Samirji, it's a very comprehensive definition that you have given to us, that something is unconventional, something is unexplored, but yet the result is very constructive, doable, applicable. Fantastic. I really like this very operational definition of creativity. So, two types of thinking is involved in creativity. One is called as convergent thinking, the other is called divergent. So, friends, anywhere around the world we go, 1 plus 1 will always be 2. So, convergent thinking means one universally accepted right answer. And our education system, I think you all understand, and you all would agree with me, you will all agree with me that the education system is whole based upon the idea of convergent thinking, isn't it? All the MCQs, there is one universally accepted right answer. Whereas when we think about creativity, the idea, the base of creativity is divergent thinking. And when we say divergent thinking, it means multiple solutions. It means you have a lot of alternatives in your mind. You can think of many different choices or many different ways of solving a particular problem, right? So there are two different, and creativity definitely seeks divergent thinking. Creativity seeks divergent thinking, and there is a need to promote this, because imagine education system is only looking for one universally corrected right answer, because it's difficult to handle divergent thinking, right? Okay, now to understand creativity, there are 4 P's of creativity. Creativity could be understood as a personality, like people can be creative. It can be understood as a mental process, that creative people think very differently from non creative people. Creativity can even be thought about in terms of tangible product, that is the end result. So, Ola, Uyo, Facebook, a novel that is written which is very creative, a cartoon strip, these all are end products, right? And the fourth approach to creativity is called as press approach, which I'm really going to lay a lot of emphasis on, because environment has a huge role to play in either fostering creativity or squelching creativity. Environment creativity को ब्लूम भी करा सकता है, और environment की वजह से creativity squelch भी हो जाती है. Okay, let me give you another very interesting fact about creativity, right? When children are born, like everything in our brain, or every behavior in the that a human being shows, has a center in the brain that process that information, right? So when we are born, obviously there's a center that processes intelligence, has some size there, a center that processes attention, learning, memory, and creativity also. See, when we grow, all our body parts grow, and so does the brain parts. Correct? Because human body is maturing. But the reality and the truth is that when it comes to the part of the brain that is responsible for creativity, the size decreases with age. Because we adults, we do enough to squelch creativity. There is so much of compliance pressure. We want our children to do certain things in a particular fixed manner, that we do not allow them to think of alternative ways of dealing with a particular problem. Okay, so we adults have a responsibility to create an environment at least where we do not squelch creativity. And let me tell you, children are born creative. They are born with this tendency to think differently. You talk to a child, I mean, you see their cartoons and the world that they enjoy. It seems like so imaginary and so unique and different and colorful. But हमारा adults की दुनिया देखी है black and white. काम कर लो, पैसे कमा लो, और पता नहीं materialistic चीजों के पीछे भाग लो. There's not much of variation, diversity in our lives. And we ensure that our children also become a version 2.0 of ourselves. Right? So in this session, I really want to wake everybody up and shake everybody up that, hey, come on, open your eyes. What are we doing? We have some responsibility about towards the next generation. Okay? Now, honestly speaking, truly speaking, creativity is nothing but a set of mental operations, the way you think. Right? And creative people think differently. There was this book by one of the very leading authors. Leaders don't do different things, they do things differently. So creative people also do things very differently, right? So let us see how creative people are different from non-creative ones, okay? And of course, for each of the process, for each of the characteristic that I will introduce, we'll do a small activity around that, okay? So, the first mental process or the mental characteristic that creative people have is called fluency. Fluency means tendency to generate multiple solutions to the same problem, to the same question. All right? So, when you can think of more than one answer to a particular problem, to a particular construct or a question, you are using fluency. Now, my question to all of you, and everybody will try answer this. Think of all the things that are circular. Just think of everything around you, all the items or things that are circular, right? And you can use the chat box to put in your answers. Everything that is circular. And you can unmute and, give your answers also. जो चीजें गोल हैं शेप में, कुछ नाम बताइए कुछ चीजों के. Yes, clock, sun and earth, black spot on the eye, lovely, and wall clock. Yes. 31 लोग हैं इस कॉल पे और 2 रिमोट सेंटर्स, कम से कम 100 रिस्पॉन्स होने चाहिए मेरे चैट बॉक्स में. Give me more answers. यही आंसर, यही क्वेश्चन मैं किंडरगार्टन में जाके थ्रो करूँ ना, प्लेट्स, राइट दीपशिखा मैम? We eat in plates that are circular. Yes. More responses, please. Everybody participate. What's the fun then? I prepare such engaging activities and you people don't respond. Moon, sun, bangles and bindi. Lovely, Anita ma'am. Fantastic. Yes. Cross-section of pipes. Wow, that is quite technical. Excellent. Clock. Yes, Dipali ma'am. Clock. What else? Or socho? Come on. Everybody can think. एक मूवी आई थी, everybody can dance. I say ABCT. Everybody can think. Don't be lazy. फ्यूचर संभाल रहे हो यार हमारे देश का. आप ऐसा करोगे तो बच्चे कैसे करेंगे? Yes, भाविन जी. Candy. Water glass. Yes. Laddu. I love that. See? कैसे आंसर्स धीरे धीरे आने शुरू हो गए. आई एम स्टिल लुकिंग फॉर मोर रिस्पॉन्सेज. आई एम नॉट डन येट. बॉल करेक्ट. एंड नोबडी इज जजिंग यू फॉर द रिस्पॉन्सेज. वी आर एंजॉयिंग reading each other's responses. Okay, so this is called fluency, when you can think of multiple things, multiple solutions, multiple objects, items that fall in a particular category, right? So the fonts that we see, wheel of a vehicle, Absolutely, Jayashree. Ring, yeah, correct. Vikash, ring also. Chapati
Thank you,
also.
ma'am.
Sorry, sir. Right. So when you have multiple solutions, when you can think of multiple alternatives, that is called as fluency. Okay. And see how when someone started responding, others also started getting ideas. Trust me, creativity is infectious. If you create an environment where people start putting in their responses, everybody starts getting ideas. It is innate, it is there, that flint is there. Okay. The next mental process quality of a creative mind is called as flexibility. Right now, let us understand flexibility. So when you're generating ideas as a creative person, right, flexibility means that the ideas, they belong to different categories of objects. Now, just to give you an example, like let us say I asked all of you, name all the objects that are circular, right? So somebody said, say, moon, other said earth, somebody said sun, then you said planets, okay? Then somebody said satellite. So these are all fluent responses, but it lacks flexibility because all these responses, they are actually heavenly bodies, isn't it? These are all cosmic bodies. So all of them, they come from the same category of responses. So fluency is there, but there's lack of variety in that. So stretching and shifting the mind to generate variety of categories, a lot of diversity in whatever you are sharing, that is called as flexibility. Okay. Now again, um, I'm going to ask you a question, and I earnestly request all of you to respond to these answers. मेरे एनर्जी मेरा मोरल कम हो जाता जब आप लोग रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं करते तो प्लीज कम आउट ऑफ योर कंफर्ट जोन्स you got to be a part of this session. You can't just passively be receiving information. The more you engage, the more you respond and participate, the more you learn, you take home, and then you're able to apply it. And if you're just doing it for a certificate, then it's a different story altogether. Okay, so let us see how many responses do I get now. Do the number increase from the previous one or not? Now, this time my question is, what are the different uses of wood? Different uses of wood, and everybody is welcome. You can use the chat box, you can unmute and share. What are the things that we can make out of wood? Furniture, absolutely, Dipali. Furniture, yes, that's normally the first response that we get. What else? Comb, yeah. Fuel, wood artifacts. See, now the responses will start flowing. Musical instruments, pen, paper, lovely. What else? Or sochiye, wood. What all? Just look around. Cooking food, fuel, using as a comfort product. Yes. Home article, aircrafts, right? Dhoop sticks. Wow, that's interesting. Rackets, you know? See how the ideas start flowing? Do you get that? When I say that when you create a space for creative responses to happen, bats, absolutely, Anita ma'am, automatically ideas start flowing. So we adults, we have a very important role to play when it comes to fostering creativity, using it in sports. Yes, different articles and different sports products are made up of that, right? Even ship and boat is made up of wood, right? Flute is made up of wood. I mean, the more you would think, you would realize, oh yes, even this qualifies as this category, even this comes under this question, right? So when you're stretching your imagination and you're involving a lot of things, including a lot of categories into the response, that is called as flexibility. Okay, thank you very much everybody for chipping in. Chalo, ab agla dekhte hain. Sorry. So two we are done, fluency and flexibility. Third is originality, right? How novel, unusual, unique is your thinking, right? Originality. Unique ideas that are relevant but not obvious. Okay, now I'm going to again throw a question and I want everybody to think and respond and come up with unique ideas, funny ideas, wacky ideas, unusual ideas. Okay, my question to all of you is half of 10 is what? Or what is half of 10? Of course, convergent thinking will say half of 10 is 5. Correct, Narayan Polji. Convergent thinking will say half of 10 is 5. Right? Now, how can you describe this 5 in many different ways? Think. Let's think original today. Let us stretch our imagination. Is there any other way to communicate this number 5? Uh, 4 plus 1, yes. 3 plus 2, lovely, okay. What else? Oh, you picked up the hint, Samir. Yes. In the
Am I
alphabet?
audible? Am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
audible? Circle and make it half.
Ah, circle and make it half. You write down 10 and you cut it. So one line and half a circle. Very nice. And some very interesting responses came in number of Olympics rings that are 5. Fingers in the hand, that's also 5. Lovely. Hum Panch. I remember this number of Pandavas. Square root of 5. Excellent. Chaitanya, Anita, Bhavin, Joy, Solanki, Miss Bhavna. I'm sorry. Raj, Jayashri. See? Same. I mean, are you getting what I'm trying to say? We all have it in us. All we need is a little push. All we need is a little kind of environment, and apne aap, the mind start going in that direction and it start working in that direction. Yes. Are we having fun? Is it fun thinking of unusual responses? Yes or no? Type in the chat box. Hmm. When we get out of our routine, when we get out of monotony, novelty is so much fun. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right? So, how can you incorporate these things in your classroom? Is a big question, which I would be addressing in little time from now. Especially, I would love to address parents who have children जिनको हमने डाल रखा है रट में, right? Okay. The fourth thing is called as elaboration. That is adding details to a product or a service. I'll give you an example, then I'll ask you for what comes in your mind. So, I let us suppose it's a very beautiful sunset, and I say, wow, what a beautiful sunset. I finished my expression. But we all know that a poet can write a whole poem on the setting sun and the beauty of the colors and the expression and the sights, the sounds, um, you know, the whole ambience that gets created during the sunset time. One whole poem can be written on that, and that's elaboration. Sometimes a prose writer, he would dedicate one whole chapter to the beauty of the setting sun, explaining the hues, the colors, the vibrance, isn't it? The vibe at that particular time. So, more details you add, correct? More clarity you add, uh, that leads to elaboration. Okay? Now, can you think of a product or a service um, around you which has used this principle to make that gadget or that thing very popular? Can you think of something which offers a lot of details and a lot of add-ons and features and whatnot? Can you think of something? संजय लीला भंसाली की मूवीज देखी हैं? Smartphone. I was just looking for that answer. Mobile. Yes. Imagine जब भी वो हार्ड वायर्ड फोन्स होते थे, It was just booking a call, attending to the call, and keeping the phone down. Now tell me which thing, which gadget, from clock to calendar to Gmail to notepad, what is it that we use in our office or on our desk, which is not a part of our mobile phone? And look at the way we use it. This, 6 inches gadget has become our lives because they have added so much to it. I remember when this all started, we never had Facebook and other social media ka availability on mobile. And any of you who is into coding or app making, you know it. We are not looking at SEO or any such service from the perspective of a system, a desktop or a laptop. Every application is being modified so that it is mobile friendly, because this is one gadget that everybody's highly relying upon, isn't it? So more features that we add, more details that we add, more descriptive we go in anything, obviously there is better client engagement in that, right? So नर्सरी का बच्चा भी एक sketch बनाता है और आर्टिस्ट भी वही sketch बनाता है, right? The sketch with lot of elaboration, it comes almost alive, it seems like real, isn't it? So elaboration makes a product or a service very client friendly and increases the sales of that particular service. When it comes to vendors also, we do prefer a vendor. मान लीजिए आपने घर बनाना है, and you hire a ठेकेदार who said, don't bother sir, I will bring everybody from mason to tile wala to paint wala to sanitary ware wala to your electricity wala, you just chill and furnishing भी करा दूंगा. आप बोलोगे यार headache खत्म, चल तू ले ले. You take whatever extra you want. I'll connect you with the carpenter also, plumber also. I have everybody in my, system. You're cool. You're just happy about that. Okay. The next important concept in creativity is called sensitivity to problem. Right? So people who are creative, they can see that there is a problem or there might come a problem. Okay. Now, let us look at the evolution of certain objects. ठीक है? आज हम बड़े मजे से फुली एयर कंडीशनड ऑफिसेस में बैठते हैं, जहाँ जो कि दे आर whatever we call them internally heated and internally cool. We don't even need ACs. But इसका थोड़ा evolution देखें. आज से 100 साल पहले, when there was no electricity, people used to sit under the trees to get rid of heat, to deal with heat. Right? Now I want everybody to think कि from sitting under the trees to fully air conditioned offices or buildings, what was the evolution? What happened after trees? Then what happened? Then what came? Then which gadget? And now where are we? I want you to develop that whole, storyboard. Correct? So between sitting under the trees, fan and cooler, Prajapati ji, thank you so much for your response. There were hand fans also. Anna? So after trees came hand fans. After hand fans came fans. Then came coolers. But then we realized कि summers में काम नहीं करते, sorry, monsoon में काम नहीं करते. There came air conditioners, and today we have fully climate or temperature friendly, whatever, season friendly environments. So see, everything has evolved. Now what happened? People, I think indigenous Kalam Raju's tent is best example of creativity. You said it, Mr. Sameer. So something that was costing lakhs, I think this one cost few rupees, double figures, right? Sensitivity to problem. So here when we talk about Kalam Raju's tent, the stent was already there, but they realized that poor people cannot afford it. So we got to make it cost friendly. We have to cut down on the price, and they came up with something. So most of the indigenous things, like all our space missions, etc., the Mangalyaan and the Chandrayaan, that was like 1/4 or 1/8 the cost of otherwise what NASA would have spent on that. So sensitivity to problems simply means, my dear friends, that you can see a gap that exists. And trust me, this whole knowledge economy and idea currency, which I'm talking about, is just monetizing their capacity to see the gap. When people thought during COVID it's not possible for people to go shopping, classes shut down, everything happened, people quickly thought of alternatives. Online shopping became like the thing, right? With online shopping, logistics pick up, the industry logistics industry really picked up, packaging industry picked up, people can see what's coming next, right? And they start kind of investing their money in those businesses, right? So that is called as sensitivity to problem. Always remember, anybody who is creative, right, will never ever be satisfied with status quo. When I say will never be satisfied with the status quo, it simply means कि जैसा चल रहा चलने दो. No, that was not. That is not how a creative mind works. They are always seeing the gaps. That this is not working. We need to change this. We need to improve this. And trust me, friends, just look around you, the room you are sitting in. Every that thing that you see, the screen, this system that I'm using, the laptop that I'm using, the Google Meet that we are using, the electricity that we are using, isn't it? The chair, table, fan, lights, air conditioner that is on, it is actually a result of somebody's creativity. It is actually a result of somebody's sensitivity to the problem, isn't it? And trust me, this tendency of a creative mind to be sensitive to a problem actually is the mother of design thinking. So, design thinking means how do we simplify or design everyday usage products so that they become end user friendly. Okay, let me give you an example. So when mobiles were introduced, the screen was very small and the notepad was so big, isn't it? And now the touchscreen thing that is, there's hardly a notepad. The whole thing is screen. We get so much larger view, isn't it? Of what we want to check or see. That's how we are able to read our emails and do all sort of things that we do on the mobile phone because the screen size is big. This is called design thinking. That how all consumer products are designed in such a manner that the utility, the end user experience gets increases. आप कभी कभी ना you visit certain websites and you really like the look and feel of the website. You buy things from there because it is designed in a manner that it is very engaging, for the end user there. Okay, so that this is what is called as problem sensitivity. And the last thing here is guessing causes and consequences. Matlab, they actually think 2 steps ahead. They actually think 2 steps ahead, right? So that's what give them an edge, that they have a vision of the future. Okay, now I'm going to leave you with an activity and I'm going to give you 2-3 minutes to do that activity. Everybody, draw, small circles, like you can see the circles in which our names are appearing on the screen, isn't it? So maybe you can draw, circles, जितना हमारा घड़ी का डायल होता है ना, आप एक पेपर के ऊपर एक लाइन में 3 सर्कल ड्रॉ कर लो और एक पेज पे मे बी 12 सर्कल ड्रॉ कर लो. Okay, and let us see, maybe in next 5 minutes, how many different objects can you make using those circles? And end of 5 minutes, we are going to check who made what, right? Don't stop at 12. Don't stop at 12 things, right? So, look at this button and spider web, eyeball. Um, thank you, Vikas. Look at this dog, lock, and candy, ball, orange, wheel, ladybug, basket. So this is one test we use in assessment of creativity also, right? I mean, you can sometimes do these activities in your class to make your class little interesting and little different. Okay. Now, there are 6 different stages in creativity, right? Stage 1 is to actually look at what is to be done, isn't it? Or clarify a problem. Now, this is very interesting stage because so many times in our lives we are not able to solve certain problems because we have not defined the problems accurately. There's a wonderful scene from Three Idiots that I can recall. He said that this pen is worth, I don't know, $500 or $1,000 because this pen can work in no gravity, right? To which Rancho said, so where was the need to spend $500? We didn't need a pen to work in no gravity. We just needed something to write in no gravity conditions. Isn't it? So sometimes, and sometimes, kya, trust me, we all live our lives वो घोड़े वाले blinders लगा के ना हम दायां देखते हैं ना बायां, बस सीधा 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 जैसे हमारी वो कंडीशनिंग हुई है ना, बस ऐसे ही चलते रहते हैं, right? So that is why brainstorming that I have been doing all this time, it's very, very important. Throw a question in your class and ask students to think of as many different answers or as many unique ideas or as many suggestions as they want to give for that. So once you have defined the problem, the next stage is idea generation. And this is the stage when a lot of brainstorming is required, divergent thinking is required, right? And after the generation of ideas, obviously, we need to zero down on one idea and we need to put a thing, on action. Okay. Now, my question to all of you. How do we put a bear in the refrigerator? एक भालू को रेफ्रिजरेटर में कैसे डालें? Yes. Shiny, you open it, then you open the fridge, then put it, and then close the door. Simple. Okay? All right. My next question. Correct. Open the gate. My next question. Amit, how do you put a lion in a refrigerator? Think. How do you put a lion in the refrigerator? Absolutely. Yeah, there is no place. So you open the fridge, you take the bhalu out, you take the bear out, then you put the lion inside. Isn't it? Fantastic, lovely. This is a lovely audience. Open the door, take out the bear, put the lion in. Now, my next question to all of you. Noah is hosting an animal conference. All the animals attended but one. Which one? Which animal could not go? Why, Amit? Why, Narayanji, Chaitanya? Shiny bear is already out. Why lion
Ma'am,
could not
lion
attend?
is in the fridge. Ma'am,
You
lion is
said
in the
it.
fridge. So
Lion is in the fridge. तो वो conference पे कैसे जाएगा? So little bit of humor is also very important, my dear friends, in our classroom. Use it, apply it. Yes, Binu. Lion is already in the he's freezing in the refrigerator. Right? Now, you want to cross a river that is inhabited by crocodiles. How do you do that? You want to cross a river that is inhabited by crocodiles. How do you do that? Okay, yes, using a boat. But what if crocodiles attack you there? Ah, all the crocodiles are in the meeting. So swim. or go by the boat. Interesting. Yeah. So jahan na pahunche Ravi, wahan pahunche Kavi. And that is what is called as creativity. And creativity means your capacity to think of ideas, that is idea generation, and your capacity to think of very remote connections. Okay. Now, this is how, yeah, uh, ideas can be represented or problems can be represented. Problems can be sometimes represented in a visual manner. We can use some charts or line diagrams to represent the problems. Sometimes, we can use some pictures or icons to represent the problem, because unless we have defined or understood a problem correctly, there is no moving forward. If you haven't defined the problem correctly, you had it. Whatever solution you will generate to that problem is going to be a very impractical, dysfunctional kind of a solution, right? So, problems need to be represented very clearly, precisely, and simply, isn't it? And then, sometimes some problems can be written down, some problems can be represented through charts, through graphs, right? All those things happen. Yeah, and some problems can be solved visually, isn't it? So there are different ways of solving problems. Now comes another very important part of today's session, that is building a culture of creativity and innovation in education. Now, this is really, really important. I told you that our education system is actually obsessed with intelligence, right? And we rank and rate and value students on the basis of their intelligence. So it was Guilford, who's called as father of intelligence in education psychology, who said, enough of intelligence, let's start focusing on this particular thing, because that's the gold mine. Intelligence के दिन लद गए दोस्तों. It is, what is required is creativity now, right? Okay, now what kind of barriers are there to creativity? Let's understand that. The first barrier is perceptual barrier, right? That is, you can't see the problem. You're okay with the status quo. Jaisa chal raha hai, chalne do. And we know it, we cannot deny it. In a lot of government organizations, why there the progress is slow or why there is no further movement is because everybody is laid back and nobody is wanting to, be sensitive to the problem, and they just want to carry things out. The second barrier to creativity is emotional barrier, fear of taking risks. Samir, you want to ask something, say something?
Yes, yes. Am I audible,
Please.
madam?
Yes,
Am
yes, sir, you are.
Madam, actually, in last to last slide, you have shown two words: creativity and innovation. Rather, what exactly the difference, or rather, when we use interchangeably?
We do it, sir. Creativity is more used when we are talking about an idea. And when we apply that idea to create something unique, that product or that process is called innovation. So, creativity at work or creativity when is in the process of getting translated into a tangible end product, that is called as innovation, sir.
Okay, okay. So the outcome of creative ideas is innovation,
Innovation,
or rather,
absolutely.
it is on a scale or something which is on job work or batch size. That innovation is something which can be scale up to a large manufacturing organization, or rather it's something treated with one or two unique problems.
It can be as small as when we, okay, now there is a word, sir, which has found its place in a dictionary also. The word is called jugad,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So jugad also means that there is a problem and you have thought of a creative solution and you applied that solution. So, sir, innovation can be as small as a jugad, where you're using something so local, so regional to solve an immediate problem that has come. And innovation can be as big as you mentioned, sir, a large manufacturing unit addressing a big problem using an innovative idea.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I hope it kind of answers your question. Yeah. So coming to the barriers, perceptual barriers, you can't see your problem. Emotional barriers. You can see the problem, but we are really, really scared of taking that leap, right? And so you can't take that leap of faith. Cultural. This is one of my favorites. You know, the number of Nobel laureates that our country has generated, we can count them on fingers. Mother Teresa, Amartya Sen, few people in science, Radhakrishnan and Hargobind Khurana, and they got it when they went abroad. When they were in India, we never kind of valued their skill or their knowledge, right? And lately, Ashish Siddharthi, like and two or three of people have got it in peace in one of in economy, and so there will always be dearth of people who will receive Nobel prizes in India because India as a culture is a very conformity culture, right? We really value that things to be done in a certain way as adults want it to be. We are rigid. We are not a very flexible culture, isn't it? So cultural barriers means our mindset as a culture really. Now, if you've seen the movie Tare Zameen Pe, the child was very creative, but he was unconventional. You know, please understand that creativity and conventionality cannot stay together because creativity means uniqueness, novelty, challenging the status quo, thinking of something infrequent, unusual, and conformity means only this way, my way or highway. So they don't go hand in hand. And then social barriers. The fear of failure again and the fear of criticism, right? I mean, in our country, people, you can't fail. You cannot fail because पूरे खानदान की नाक कट जाती है जब आप फेल होते हो तो. But please understand when somebody will try something unique and new, they will never get it right in the first go. Does anybody know how many times Thomas Alva Edison failed before bulb was discovered or invented?
9,999 probably.
Absolutely, sir. Even more than that, but yes, close to that. 9,900 बार वो इंसान फेल हुआ. Imagine your child getting failed 9,900 बार. We can't take it as parents, right? So we have our own cultural, social, emotional, perceptual, and mental barriers because we are a very security seeking country. Resources limited है ना, takers ज़्यादा है, तो हमें लगता है कि कोई ऐसा रूट ले लो कन्वेंशनल सा जिससे पेचेक आता रहे 30 दिन के बाद. But the kind of money entrepreneurs make and the kind of money somebody who's in a service sector like services, right, make 100x का difference होता है दोनों. But they took the leap of faith. They took the risk and it is yielding them results. Now, how do we enhance the creativity index of people and children around us?
Ma'am,
Right?
I just wanted to ask something. Hello, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am. In with regard to all the barriers that you said shortly, I mean, I just feel one thing key in India or in the kind of schools that or colleges that we know, evaluation procedure for the students or the learners, rewarding them in the right way, which is not done very often, is a major barrier that does not that hardly work to motivate them.
so your voice is not very clear. Is it you are asking how
Uh,
to handle failure? Sorry.
yes, ma'am. I'm just trying to say, like, in Indian schools and colleges, okay, students are not evaluated in the right procedure.
Correct.
Whenever they just try to do something new or answer a question in a new way, they are often thwarted. Like, and this is what makes a problem to go with the creativity. This is what I feel.
Correct. Correct. I agree with you, sir. So, if you are forced to kind of follow a certain rigid pattern of marking, I know there is no way out, But sir, people one who are in power positions like deans of the colleges or maybe head of the departments of the colleges, right? These are the people who actually got to advocate creativity. That is, you look for some changes in either the curriculum or you stand by that student. Now, again, I recall that scene from 3 Idiots that this student was trying to create a um, what is it, that camera thing, the camera and the drone, and he missed the deadline for that, and poor thing, he was so badly uh, scolded and his marks were deducted that he ultimately, because of pressure, he committed suicide. So, as teachers, sir, we can gauge a child who is procrastinating and we can gauge a child who is actually building up something new and different. So, first thing that comes to my mind is that as teachers, it is our responsibility to become advocate for those students and look for some kind of exemptions for those students, giving them extra time, etc. That is one thing. Another thing that comes to my mind is that we actually spend some extra time with these students and tell them that, okay, the conventional way of doing it is this way. However, I'm with you. So as a teacher, if you can guide them about incubation centers, how they can raise some seed capital, what is the ideation stage, so we have these entrepreneurial incubation centers also, some startup centers also, they're called incubation centers. So if we could connect these students to those incubation centers, right, where that idea that they are working upon can get monetized also, right, or they can get some financial help also, maybe that way, Narayan sir, we can help our students.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Does that make
Thank you.
sense, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
All right. Okay. Now, how to create a creativogenic environment? Now, this is very important for all of us to kind of understand, not just being a teacher, but also being a parent. So, all the people who are parents, please pay attention. The first thing is it's judgment and criticism, my dear friends, which kills creativity. Okay, so as educators, teachers, and parents, stop criticizing children who are trying their hand on something new. You have spent 2 sessions with me. I ask a lot of questions. You would not, see me checking people or telling people this is not the right answer. Every answer is welcome, because when there is a non-judgmental space, people don't have to bother about generating right answers. They're only generating answers, and from those answers, sometimes they sound very stupid, wacky, unusual, but that could be the probable solution. Okay, so first tendency all those teachers and parents need to check is our desire to criticize and tell people, no, 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 this is not going to work. How did you do this? There's such shoddy work you have done. So judgments are to be suspended. Criticism and evaluation is to be suspended, and more encouragement and motivation needs to be there. Second, seek quality. Don't compromise on shoddy work, right? Ask them. Keep some standards. Keep the standards very high and expect your students to match up those standards. That's very, very important. Don't compromise on standards if you really want creativity to strive. Third important thing is mental hitchhiking. You know, I told you, creativity is infectious, right? So when one person gives an idea, the other person picks up at that idea and think of a very unique thing from that idea. So let children do a lot of brainstorming. Let them sit together and think about what all possibilities are there, and take inspiration from each other's ideas and do something. So don't expect your students to just jump into the thing, do what is required to be done and get over with that. Give them some incubation time, some thinking time, right? And last one is seek novel associations. Let people be very, very remote in their associations and thought processes. Encourage that. There could be a child who's very witty in your class, not misbehaving, but very witty. They have very interesting jokes to crack or something of that sort, which is, of course, within the decorum of the class. Encourage those things in your classroom. Okay, so let your classrooms be like gardens where creativity, unusualness can thrive. And let me tell you, if you're a very serious teacher, seriousness, according to me, is pathological. There is no need to be extremely serious. Remain humorous, remain very light-hearted in the classroom so that students don't find you to be a very tough nut kind of a teacher. Of course, you can't let them compromise on discipline. Don't get me wrong there, right? But the traditional epitome or the traditional prototype of a teacher तो ऐसा होता है types. Avoid that. Okay. So I would repeat: one, there has to be a very democratic space if we want creativity to thrive. Two, the standards need to be high. Okay. Three, people are allowed to discuss, talk, brainstorm, about projects and what do they want to do, etc. And you're very encouraging when it comes to unusual ideas when they're shared in your classroom. And most importantly, allow your children to fail, my dear friends. I repeat, let's allow our children to fail, because anybody who is trying to do something different, something new, will not get it right in the first hand. Right? So our job is to become encouragers, motivators, supporters, right? And we really tell them that, okay, go ahead, you have my back, right? That's the kind of less of conformity pressure. Too much of danda kills, squelches creativity, right? So let the homes and colleges be more democratic, where ideas are welcome. That's really really required. Okay. And as I shared with you earlier, some techniques to enhance creativity are like brainstorming. You throw the question and let everybody think of answers. And there are never right answers. No evaluation, no judgment. Write down all the solutions that have been offered and then sit down and earmark 4, 5, 6 solutions which you think are very viable solutions. Right? More permissive an environment is, higher will be the creativity that would thrive. Okay. Then ask a lot of questions. I've been telling you this yesterday also. We adults actually need to master the art of asking questions so that we make our children thinking machines. Don't give them ready-made answers, right? They come to you with problems. Ask them, what have you done so far? Where did you get stuck? What are alternatives have you tried so far? Gauge it whether they have put in any effort or not. Okay. And similarly, synectics is a technique where we take a lot of ideas from Mother Nature, right? Right, brothers, they actually saw birds flying and then they thought we can also do that. So they think of, streamlined bodies. Similarly, why do you think that ship and boat can flow on water, right? Or travel on water? They took, they studied fish. I clearly remember I saw a small documentary on how Japan, they have those bullet trains. They are extremely fast. Now, when a bullet train enters a tunnel, there is a sonic boom. Because of the sonic boom, the buildings and everything around, every time the bullet will enter, the bullet train will enter a tunnel, they will experience the sonic boom. So one of the scientists, he observed that little hummingbird or maybe woodpecker, I do not know. So when the hummingbird or the woodpecker it gets into water to fetch its prey, there is zero disturbance on water. There is zero disturbance on water, because the body of that bird is designed in such a manner that there is minimum dispersion. So they took a hint from there and designed the bullet train in a manner that the sonic boom actually reduced to minimum. Right? So my suggestion is, read more about creativity. Read more about creativogenic environment. Read more about your role as a teacher in creating that democratic environment in the classroom, in the mindset that you have, so that your students they really see your class as an opportunity to bloom and to grow. All right. So these were the little things that I wanted to share with you around creativity. Again, I hope that you found it useful. There could be certain things that maybe you do not agree with, or you found it maybe a little out of the box, but anything that you feel is executable in the classrooms, please try hands on that, because I think it's our responsibility to prepare our children and prepare them with this currency of generating ideas and being creative, right? So this is what I wanted to share with all of you, and now it's your time. I love to take feedback. I love to hear about what you learned today, right? So again, the floor is open. If you have any questions, if you wish to share with me what was your learning from today's classroom, how did you find the session today, I'd be very, very happy to hear you. Yes. Any feedback? Any learning that you're taking home? Samir, Samisa, you want to say something?
Yes. Uh,
Yes.
Madam, whatever you have shared, that is absolutely interesting and really put into the practice in the classroom. But I would like to have a notion that the number of students, the
Hmm.
batch size of a classroom will definitely affect this creative part of the
Hmm.
students. Suppose you are teaching in a classroom which is having the batch size of 120, 150 students.
Right.
How can you actually implement all these tactics? I think it bit difficult. I am not pessimist, or I am
Yeah,
not in a tone of negativity,
I
but
know.
yes, sometimes creativity play a role in the batch size of the students also.
I agree, sir. I agree with you. Okay, you are completely right there, sir. There could be some ground realities which might kind of clash with what all we have shared or what all we discussed today. See, my idea is, how can we create a classroom where the ideas are welcome, right? Where questions are welcome, where we ignite curiosity in the classroom, right? And once in a while, sir, once in 15 days, if if we can, use these ideas to have some brainstorming sessions. I know we have a lot of limitations, Samir sir. I do not disagree with you. I 100% agree with you. All I'm saying is, let us make our classrooms little unconventional, so that out of that grade of 120, if there are one, two, three students who have a high creativity quotient, they feel that, yeah, they are heard there. And they also have some space there, and their ideas also have space there. सो छोटा छोटा ट्वीक करते हैं सर, जिससे कि हमारे क्लासरूम्स थोड़े और डेमोक्रेटिक हो जाए. दैट्स अबाउट इट.
Thank you. Thank you.
But your question is absolutely legit. Totally. Thank you for asking that question. Narayan Paulji says, how to foster creativity amongst learners to welcome every answer without being judgmental, and then to find or speak about viable answers. Yeah. So Narayan said, like, you would have observed me. Anybody who shares something, right? Your facial expressions or your tone does not show that you're questioning that uh, option, right? Oh, wonderful. Well said. And you're taking down all the answers that have come without questioning how legit it is, how awkward it is, how weird it is. Because trust me, sir, मैंने इतना पढ़ाई करी है क्रिएटिविटी के फील्ड में कि जहाँ से लीस्ट एक्सपेक्टेड होता है ना, वहाँ से कई बार सोल्यूशन आ जाता है. Right. So let us suppose you have a pen and a paper, or you have a whiteboard and a marker, and all the ideas that your team is generating, you're jotting it down. Right. Let us suppose we have 40 items on the board, and we do not know who gave which answer, right? But in that process, because there was no judgment, no criticism, no evaluation, everybody really thought out of the box, remote association, and they said that. Then comes the second stage, sir, when we start thinking from the perspective of operationability, viability, finance, or some other things, right? So then you throw the question that, okay, we have 40 ideas on the whiteboard. Tell me the top 20 ideas out of 40 which you think are better than the rest of the 40. So from 40 we come to 20. When top 20 happens, then you again go in for a poll or perspective. Okay, now out of these 20, which 5 ideas you think are most functional, right? So it happens unanimously, sir. The teacher does not decide. The leader does not decide. The whole team decides. And once, sir, we have zeroed down on 5 variables, then we make 5 teams and we tell them now you got to make presentations on these 5 ideas, that how in your mind, according to you, these 5 ideas could actually be the most viable solution to the problem. Then we take presentations, we go into that process, and then again, when you listen to all the presentations, everybody is there. It's all very transparent, right? Then you say that okay, now everybody, let's check out which out of the 5 ideas you think is the most viable solution and practical solution to the problem. So thank you for asking this question, because you follow this step-by-step procedure. It's a long procedure, but yes, this is how it is done. All right. So that's all from my side. Thank you